Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. And today we'll be discussing the theory related to the chapter Morphology of the Flowering Plants. So, this is the part 2 of the lecture. In this lecture, we'll discuss the NCERT sections 5.3 and 5.4. Okay, so we'll discuss about the leaf, the type of leaves. Okay, we'll talk about the venation. Okay, venation, we'll talk about the venation in the dicots and the monocots. Okay, we'll talk about the phyllotaxy and we'll also talk about the inflorescence and type of inflorescence. Before starting these lectures, I want to give you one information that the images, text and other materials used in our presentations are for education purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@itk.ac.in and we shall remove the content immediately. Please note that parts of the content may have been generated using generative AI, which is experimental. So, what are the objectives of today's session? So, we will identify and classify different type of leaves based on the arrangement. We'll talk about the arrangement of leaf, how they are arranged on the shoot, how they are arranged on the stem. We'll talk about the venation in the leaves. We'll also talk about the shape of the leaf. So there are different kind of shapes of leaf. Okay, we'll talk about that also. Then we will understand the leaf modifications and their functions. So leaves, they are one of the organs of the plant. They are the vegetative structure of the plant. So there are a lot of modifications of the leaves. We'll talk about that and we will also understand the functions of these modifications, why the leaves are modified. What functions do they do? Usually the leaf do photosynthesis, but when they are modified, what functions they do? Then we'll also recognize various type of inflorescence patterns, and this will talk about racemose inflorescence and cymose inflorescence. Okay, we'll also understand the definition of inflorescence. What is inflorescence? So there are different kinds of inflorescence. We'll talk about them and with examples. Then we will understand the significance of inflorescence in plant reproduction. Okay, so we'll talk about the leaf, which is NCERT section 5.3. Within this, we'll talk about the venation. We'll talk about the type of leaves and phyllotaxy. We'll also talk about the inflorescence, which is NCERT section 5.4. Then I'll summarize this entire session. We'll discuss some in-text questions, which are basically NCERT-based questions related to these two topics, leaf and inflorescence. Then I'll give you some keynotes which are very important for this chapter. So these keynotes will be for the topic leaf and inflorescence, and these keynotes will also help you crack the NEET exam. Okay. Then there will be some interesting questions in the end. These questions will enhance your critical thinking ability. Alright, so we'll be talking about leaf and inflorescence. I will tell you the definition of all these terms that are listed here. Now, let's talk about the leaf first. The leaf is a lateral, generally flattened structure borne on the stem. So this is a very simple definition of the leaf. It is oriented laterally. It is generally flattened. So whenever you look at the structure of the leaves are flattened. They are vegetative structure borne on the stem. They are borne on the shoots, or you can say the stem. Okay. Now the stem, it bears nodes and internodes, and the leaf, they arise from the nodes. Okay. So leaves develop at the nodes and bears a bud in its axil. Clear? So what is the characteristic feature of shoot? shoot bears or stem bears nodes and internodes. Now from the nodes, what things can arise? What all structures can arise from the nodes? The leaf can arise. Okay, clear? Branches can arise. Clear? And then between the two nodes, there is an internode. So leaves develops at the nodes, and the leaves, they bear a bud in its axil. This is known as the axillary bud. So the axillary bud later develops into a branch. Now leaves, they originate from shoot apical meristem and are arranged in an acropetal order. So this is very important. Leaves, they are originating from the SAM, shoot apical meristem. Now what is shoot apical meristem? Shoot apical meristem is the tip. It is the apex of the shoot, which consists of the meristematic cells. These meristematic cells, they keep on dividing. Okay, and this leads to the growth of the plant as well. So these leaves arise from the shoot apical meristem. So shoot apical meristem, it modifies, it transforms into leaves. Clear? And leaves, they are arranged in acropetal order. So now what do you mean by acropetal here? So acropetal order means at the base, there'll be older leaves, and at the apex, towards the tip, there'll be younger leaves. So as you move from base to upwards to the tip, to the apex, what will happen? Progressively, there'll be younger leaves when you move from base to the apex. So at the base, there'll be older leaves, and at the apex, there'll be younger leaves. So this arrangement is very important for capturing the sunlight. Okay, younger leaves, they have more chlorophyll. Okay, the older leaves, in the older leaves, what is happening? The chlorophyll is getting degraded. Clear? So that's why the younger leaves are at the top, so they can capture the sunlight. And leaves, they consist of the organelle chloroplast, and within the chloroplast, chlorophyll is present. And the chlorophyll pigment, this helps in the capturing of the light, and it converts light energy into the chemical energy. Or simply you can say it converts light energy into the organic compounds, the food. That's why the leaves are arranged in the acropetal order. Now, leaves are the most important vegetative organs for the photosynthesis. Okay, so they are vegetative organs, not reproductive organs. So the leaves, the shoots, the branches, roots, they are all vegetative organs. So first, in the plants, there is a vegetative phase, and then there is a reproductive phase. Okay, so if you talk about the, you can say growth of the plants, first there is a juvenile phase, or you can say the vegetative phase, then comes the reproductive phase, where flowers are produced. So leaves, they are the vegetative organs, you can say. You can see it is written vegetative organs, and they are very important for photosynthesis. So the photosynthesis occurs in the green parts of the plant. Green parts of the plant, they are leaves. Leaves consist of the, which kind of cells? Leaves consist of mesophyll cells. And in these mesophyll cells, what is present? Organelle is present, which is known as the chloroplast. And within the chloroplast, the chlorophyll pigment is present. Along with chlorophyll, other accessory pigments are also present, like carotenoid, xanthophylls. These are accessory pigments. These pigments also help in capturing of the light energy. So leaves, you can say leaves, they are the site of photosynthesis. So they can ask you a question, what is the site of photosynthesis in the plant? So leaves will be the answer. Okay, within leaves, chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. Now let's talk about the structure of the leaf. So a typical leaf consists of three main parts. What are these parts? Leaf base, petiole, and the lamina. Okay. So we'll talk about what is leaf base, what is petiole, and what is lamina. Clear? Now, the leaf is attached to the stem with the help of the leaf base. And the leaf base also bears a stipule or a pair of stipules. Means two stipules will be present. Clear? So how is leaf attached to the stem? With the help of the leaf base. Now what is stipule? So stipules, they are small and they are leaf-like structures which are found in pairs at the base of the, you can say, they are present at the leaf base. Clear? Now what is the role of the stipules? Why are stipules present? So these stipules, they protect the young leaves during the development. This is the role of these stipules. And sometimes the stipule can also perform photosynthesis, but that is very rare. This happens in only some plants. Now in monocots, the leaf base expands into a sheath covering the stem. We're talking about the monocots which have only one cotyledon. Okay, like wheat, this is a monocot. So leaf base expands into a sheath and this sheath covers the stem. So this sheath, this is the expanded leaf base that wraps around the stem. For example, in grasses, the leaves have a sheath that surrounds the stem. And this sheath, it provides support and protection to the stem as well. This is the role of the sheath. In leguminous plants, what happens here? A swollen leaf base is called pulvinous. So in leguminous plant, the leaf base is swollen and that is known as pulvinous. Now what is pulvinous? It is a swollen leaf base structure that helps in the leaf movement. So this pulvinous helps in the leaf movement. This is a very important role of pulvinous. This helps in the leaf movement. How it helps in the leaf movement? Because there are turgor changes in the cells which are present in the pulvinous. So this pulvinous, they consist of cells that change the turgor pressure. And because of the change of turgor pressure, the leaf movement occurs. So these pulvinous, these are present in some plants such as touch-me-not plant also. Touch-me-not plant, what is the scientific name of touch-me-not plant? It is Mimosa pudica. Clear? So in Mimosa pudica, when you touch the plant, the leaf droops. This leaf droops because of the changes in the turgor pressure in the pulvinous. Clear? So this pulvinous is very important here. You should know the function of pulvinous as well. You should know the function of this leaf sheath also, which is present in the monocots. So monocots are plants, as I have told you, they have only one cotyledon. They are different from dicots. Dicots have two cotyledons. Usually grasses, they are monocots. Now, here you can see this is the image showing you the parts of the leaf. So this is the leaf, this is the lamina of the leaf. Okay, lamina, you can see. Lamina is one of the part of the leaf. This is the body of the leaf, you can say. Okay, then here is the stipule. This is the petiole. Petiole is known as the stalk of the leaf. This is the leaf base. Okay, and this is the axillary bud. I've told you the function of stipule also. Stipules protects the younger leaves. Now petiole, what is the function of petiole now? The petiole helps hold the blade to the light. Okay, the lamina, this is also known as blade. So the petiole helps to hold the lamina towards the light. So it helps to orient the leaves towards the light. Because what is the role of leaves? To capture the light energy, to do photosynthesis. Petiole, which is known as the stalk of the leaf, it helps hold the lamina or the blade to the light. Okay. Now, it is long, thin, flexible. Petiole allows leaf blade to flutter in the wind. So these petioles, they are quite slender, they are quite long, they are quite thin, and this allows the leaf blade or the leaf lamina to flutter in the wind. You must have seen the leaf fluttering in the wind. So by this fluttering, what happens? Cooling of the leaf takes place, and this brings the fresh air to the leaf surface. So by transpiration also cooling of the leaf occurs, like in humans, in animals, what happens? Sweating results in the cooling of our skin, of our body surface. So here the cooling effect is through transpiration and through this fluttering of the leaves with the help of petioles. Now the lamina or the leaf blade. This is the green expanded part of the leaf with veins and the veinlets. Okay, so light energy is captured by the lamina, also known as the leaf blade. It is green in color, and this lamina is consist of the veins and the veinlets. So through this vein and veinlets, what happens? The transport of the minerals, transport of the water, transport of the food, transport of the organic substances occurs. Again, this is the image showing you the parts of the leaves. You can see this is the lamina, which is green in color. Okay, this is the petiole, which is the stalk of the leaf. So you should remember the functions of all the parts of the leaf. I've told you function of all the parts here: stipule, petiole, lamina, leaf base, axillary bud develops into branch as well. Now the midrib of the leaf. This is the main central vein in the leaf. Okay, and from the midrib arises the different veins and the veinlet. Okay, the veins. What is the function of veins now? Veins provide rigidity to the leaf blade. It acts as channels of transport of water, minerals, and food materials. So all the food materials, all the organic substances, the water, the minerals. Okay, so the food material dissolved in the water, this is transported through these veins to different part of the leaves. Now leaves, they vary in shape. So there are different shape of the leaves. Some of the leaves, they are oval in shape. Okay, clear? So there are different shapes of the leaf. Then their margins are also different. Some have wavy margins. Okay, some have, you can say, complete margins. Clear? Then apex also is different. Sometimes the leaves have tapering apex. The surface of the leaves are, you can say, quite different. Texture of the leaf is quite different, and degree of incisions is also different. Clear? So you can see here, this is image showing you the leaf veins. This is the midrib in the center, and from the midrib are arising different veins and the veinlets, also known as the venules. Now let's talk about venation now. What do you mean by venation? Now the patterns of veins and veinlet in the leaf lamina, this is termed as venation. So this is a very simple definition of venation. Okay. Patterns of veins and veinlet in the leaf blade or the lamina. Now there are different type of venation: reticulate venation and parallel venation. Now let's first understand what is reticulate venation. So reticulate venation is when the veins form the network pattern. When the veins form networks, this is known as reticulate venation. And when the veins run parallel to each other, it is known as parallel venation. So parallel venation is usually observed in monocots. Reticulate venation is observed in dicots. So you can see in this image, this is the structure of the leaf showing you reticulate venation and the parallel venation. So image B, you can see this is the veins are forming a network here. This is known as reticulate venation, and parallel venation, this is seen in monocots, and here the veins, they are running parallelly to each other. These are observed in grasses which are monocots. Monocots have only one cotyledon. Dicots have two cotyledon. Now leaves of dicotyledonous plant possesses Reticulate venation. So dicots, also known as dicotyledonous plant, they possess reticulate venation. So this is one of the difference between dicots and monocots. So when you go outside, you can do a activity there. So you have to observe the leaves of the plant. Okay. Then observe the venation pattern of the leaf. So if you see a network of veins, then it will be a dicot plant. And if you see that the veins, they are running parallelly to each other, this is known as parallel venation, which is seen in monocot. So you can tell by observing the morphology. Okay, just by observing, you can say that this plant is dicot or a monocot. Now, parallel venation is the characteristic feature of mostly monocotyledonous plant, means monocot plants, such as grasses. So again, you can see this structure of leaf showing you reticulate venation and parallel venation. Now let's talk about the types of the leaves. Now a leaf with an entire or partially divided lamina that doesn't reach the midrib is the simple leaf. So there are two kinds of leaf, simple leaf and compound leaf. First, let's talk about the simple leaf. So a leaf with an entire lamina or partially divided lamina. Okay. This is known as a simple leaf. So in simple leaf, there is only one, you can say lamina. There is one complete lamina, or the lamina is sometimes it is slightly divided. Okay. Clear? This is known as simple leaf. Now, what is compound leaf then? Now, a leaf where incisions, they reach the midrib, forming a separate leaflet. This is known as a compound leaf. So in compound leaf, leaflets are present. In simple leaf, usually a single blade is present, single lamina is present. There is no leaflet. In compound leaf, leaflets are present because the incisions, they reach the midrib. In simple leaf, these incisions may be there, but they don't reach the midrib. In case of compound leaf, the incision, they reach the midrib, forming separate leaflets. So again, you can do one activity, go outside, you can observe. If you look at the leaves, if you see leaflets in the leaf, that will be a compound leaf. If you see an entire leaf with a single lamina, or if the incision, they don't reach the midrib, that will be a simple leaf. Now, axillary bud, they appear at the petiole base in both the leaf, simple and the compound leaf, but not at the leaflet bases. So the axillary bud, they appear at the base of the petiole, but not base of the, you can say, petiole base or leaf base. But these axillary bud, they do not appear at the base of leaflet bases. So here you can see, these are the image. This is the image showing you type of leaf. First one is the simple leaf. Second one is the compound leaf. So this is the stem here. From the nodes, leaves arise. The stem consists of nodes and internodes. This is the axillary bud. You can see the petiole here. Petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Okay, this is simple leaf having only one lamina, having only single blade. And this is a compound leaf in which the incisions have reached the midrib, and these are different leaflets. So compound leaf consists of many leaflets. Okay, and the axillary bud is only present at the leaf base, not at the base of the leaflets. Now the compound leaf may be of two types now. Further, compound leaves may be of two types. So these are pinnately compound and palmately compound. Now what do you mean by pinnately compound leaves? In the pinnately compound leaf, the leaflet attached along the rachis, example is neem. And in palmately compound leaf, what happens? The leaflet attached at the petiole tip. So what does this mean? Example of palmately compound leaf is silk cotton. So there is a question in the NCERT exercises of this chapter, Morphology of the Flowering Plant. There is question number 1 is related to this topic. Okay, so you should understand this topic you should study this topic very clearly. Okay, So there are questions in the textbook related to this topic. So this is the image showing you the pinnately compound leaf and palmately compound leaf. So let's talk about the pinnately compound leaf. In pinnately compound leaf, you can see different leaflets here. Example is neem, and these leaflets, they are present all along the rachis. Now what is rachis? Rachis is the extended part of the petiole. Okay, what is rachis? Extended part of the petiole, which was the stalk of the leaf. And these leaflets, they are present all along the rachis. And in the case of palmately compound leaf, these leaflets, they arise from a single, you can say, region. They are arising from a single point. You can see all these are leaflets, but these leaflets, they are arising from a single point here. So leaflets, they are attached at the petiole tip. This is the petiole. This is the petiole tip. Leaflets, they are attached to the petiole tip. And in the case of pinnately compound leaflets, they are attached all along the rachis. This entire thing is rachis. Okay, clear? So now you know difference between pinnately compound and palmately compound leaf. Now let's understand what is phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or the branch. Okay, how the leaves are arranged on the stem or the branch, this is known as phyllotaxy. This is usually of three types: alternate, opposite, and whorled. So again, there is a question from this topic, question number 2 from the NCERT exercise of this chapter. This is related to this topic, phyllotaxy. So you can see here, this is image showing you different types of phyllotaxy. So alternate phyllotaxy is present in China rose, opposite phyllotaxy is present in guava, and whorled phyllotaxy can be observed in Alstonia. So in alternate phyllotaxy, what is happening here? The leaves, they arise from alternate nodes. You can see this is an alternate pattern. In guava, what is happening? Opposite phyllotaxy is there, means from a single node, two leaves are arising. And in whorled, what is happening? From a single node, many leaflets are arising. Okay. What happens in alternate phyllotaxy? One leaf per node grows alternately. So leaf, they arise from alternate nodes. One leaf per node. Only one leaf from one node only. Okay. Okay, this is found in China rose, mustard, and sunflower. So you should remember the examples also. So they can ask you in the exam whether China rose, mustard, and flower, what kind of phyllotaxy is present here. So we'll answer alternate phyllotaxy. Then opposite phyllotaxy. So here, two leaves, they arise at each node. So remember this, in alternate, one leaf per node. Here in opposite, two leaves per node. And these two are facing opposite to each other. That's why known as opposite phyllotaxy. So this is seen in Calotropis and guava. Again, you should remember the examples. Then whorled phyllotaxy. Now, multiple leaves, they emerge from one node forming a whorl. So multiple leaves, they emerge from one node. And this forms a whorl. That's why it is known as whorled phyllotaxy. Example is Alstonia. So this is also very important. This question comes in the exam regarding the phyllotaxy. What phyllotaxy is present in Alstonia, Calotropis, and China rose. So you can see here, this is image showing you type of phyllotaxy. First one is the whorled phyllotaxy present in Alstonia. You can see the leaves are arising from a single node forming a whorl. In Calotropis, opposite phyllotaxy is present where two leaves arise from a single node in opposite direction. These two leaves are in opposite direction. In alternate phyllotaxy, what is happening? Which is present in China rose. The leaves, they arise from alternate nodes and only one leaf arises from each node. Now let's talk about the inflorescence. So first of all, what is inflorescence? So simple definition of inflorescence will be collection of the flowers. Okay, this is a very simple definition of the inflorescence. cluster of the flowers, you can also say. Now flower, this is, as we know, this is a reproductive organ. Okay. So these flowers develops in the reproductive phase. So there are two phases, as I have told you, vegetative phase and the reproductive phase. In the reproductive phase, flowers develop. And now why flower is a reproductive structure? Because flower consists of the male and the female sex organs. Male sex organs, they are known as the androecium, which consists of the stamen, and the female sex organ is the gynoecium, or you can say the carpel. Okay. Now let's discuss what is flower now. The flower is a modified shoot. Remember this. What is a flower? Flower is the modified shoot, where the shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristem. So what happens here when the plant enters into the reproductive phase, the shoot apical meristem changes into floral meristem. And this floral meristem gives rise to the flower. Clear? So there are a lot of hormones involved here in this process. Okay. So there is a hormone known as florigen. This helps to initiate the flowering. Flowering can also be induced by some other methods. Clear? Now internodes, they do not elongate, resulting in condensed axis. So the stem, the shoot, is consist of nodes and internodes. But what happens here during the flower formation? The internode, they do not elongate now. Okay, so how do the stem increase in size? The stem increase in size by the elongation of the internode. So if the internode elongates, the stem will be large. If the internodes are not elongating, if they are not increasing in length, the stem will be short. So what happens during the this flower formation or during inflorescence formation? The internode, they do not elongate. So what will happen? This will result in the condensed axis. And on this axis, a lot of flowers are born, which forms the inflorescence. Now the apex produces the floral appendages laterally at nodes instead of the leaves. So we have discussed earlier when we were talking about the leaf, the shoot apical meristem, it forms the leaves. But that was happening in the vegetative phase. What is happening in the reproductive phase now? This shoot apical meristem, okay, means the apex of the shoot, these start producing floral appendages at the nodes. Earlier from the nodes, leaves were arising. Now at the nodes, flowers are arising. Okay, and what do you mean by floral appendages? Floral appendages means the parts of the flower. So what are the parts of the flower? So flower consists of the corolla, the calyx. So calyx is the outermost layer. Then inner to calyx is corolla, which is collection of petals. Calyx is collection of sepals. Okay, then there is calyx, then there is corolla, and inner to corolla is androecium, which is nothing but these are the male reproductive structure, which consists of the stamen. Okay, now stamen consists of filament and the anther. Within the anther, pollen grains are produced. And the innermost whorl, this is known as the gynoecium, which represent the female reproductive structure. It consists of the carpel, which consists of ovary, style, and stigma. So these are the floral appendages, which makes the flower. These are the parts of the flower. Now, when a shoot tip transforms into a flower, it becomes solitary. Now, the shoot tips are transformed into the flower. Okay. Now, usually it becomes solitary, but this is not necessary. Solitary means alone. Okay, sometimes a single flower can be present, and sometimes a collection of flower can also be present. And you can see why the plants are forming flowers here. What is the need of forming flowers? So we know why the plant, they produce leaves, because leaves are involved in the photosynthesis. Okay, plant require photosynthesis to produce the food. plants, they are known as the producers. But why are they producing the flowers? What is the significance? What is the importance of producing flowers? So these flowers are the reproductive structures. Okay, so they are involved in sexual reproduction. Clear? And after sexual reproduction, what is produced? Fruits. Fruits are produced. Seeds are produced. So it helps in the continuation of the species. So flowers, they are reproductive structures. Okay. So this is an inflorescence. Inflorescence is just the cluster of the flowers. Now inflorescence is the arrangement of flower on the floral axis. Clear? So this is a simple definition of inflorescence. It is the cluster of the flowers, or you can also say this is the arrangement of flowers on the floral axis. Now, inflorescence is of two major types, racemose inflorescence and cymose inflorescence. Although there are a lot of types of inflorescence, these are the two major types, racemose inflorescence and cymose inflorescence. In racemose inflorescence, what happens? In this, the apex continues to grow. Okay, in cymose inflorescence, what happens? In this, the apex gets developed into the flower. So there is a question in NCERT book, question number 4A and question number 9 related to this topic, inflorescence. Okay, so we were talking that racemose inflorescence, in this the apex continues to grow, and in cymose inflorescence, in this apex, the shoot apex, it develops into a flower. Now let's understand what is this. So first of all, let's have a look at this image. This is the image showing you racemose inflorescence and the cymose inflorescence. In cymose inflorescence, you can see the apex gets developed into a flower. So there is a determinate growth. In racemose inflorescence, the apex is continues to grow. So there is undeterminate growth. Okay, let's understand racemose inflorescence. Now what happens? The main axis of the inflorescence, it continues to grow because it do not terminate in a flower. That's why the main axis is continuously growing. Clear? Here the lateral flower development occurs. So flower, okay, because there is no terminal flower here. Lateral flowers are present. So that's why lateral flower arrangement is written here. And the main axis of the inflorescence, it keeps on growing because it is not terminating its flowers. So that's why lateral flowers are present. In the image also that I have shown you, lateral flowers was present. Means the flowers are born laterally on the main axis. There is an acropetal order of these leaves. This is known as acropetal succession. Means flower development is occurring in acropetal succession, means youngest flower are at the apex and the oldest flower, they are present at the base. This is known as acropetal succession. So this is very similar to the acropetal order of the leaves. So leaves are also born like this. At the base, the older leaves are present. At the apex, younger leaves are present. So here you can see this is the racemose inflorescence. Lateral, you can see the lateral arrangement of the flowers here. At the base, older flowers are present. At the apex, younger flowers are present. And this axis, this keeps on growing. So this is undeterminate growth. Let's talk about the cymose inflorescence here. So the main axis terminates in a flower. So there is a determinate growth here. Okay, so this results in limited growth of the main axis because the main axis will terminate into a flower. Here the flowers are born in basipetal order. So basipetal order is opposite of the acropetal order. Means the flower develops from top to bottom. So it will be reverse of the acropetal succession. Means at the apex there will be older flowers, at the bottom there will be younger flowers. So this is the image showing you cymose inflorescence. Here you can see the main axis will terminate into a flower. Here flowers are not born laterally. Now let's summarize this entire lecture. So we talked about the leaf and the inflorescence. Leaves are lateral organs. Okay, they have flattened structure. They consist of chlorophyll, which is very important for photosynthesis. If you talk about the parts of the leaf, it consists of the blade, which is also known as lamina. It consists of the petiole, which is the stalk of the leaf. It consists of stipules also. Okay, so this stipule provide protection to the young leaves. We talked about the function of the petiole also. These petioles, they help in the fluttering of the leaves, which helps the leaves to cool down their temperature. This blade helps to capture the light energy. Inflorescence, this is a reproductive structure bearing leaves in specific arrangements. Okay, we talked about racemose inflorescence and cymose inflorescence. And some other example of inflorescence are raceme, spike, and umbel. Clear? Now the arrangement pattern helps in plant identification and classification. So we are talking about arrangement of the leaves and the arrangement of the flowers. So this also helps in the identification of the plants and classification of the plants. Okay, how do we classify any organism? Based on some similar characteristic. So based on the arrangement of the leaves and the arrangement of the flowers, plants can be identified and classified as well. Now this arrangement also enhances the reproductive success. Okay, so the flowers, they are arranged in a particular manner. Clear? So this arrangement of the flowers, this helps in efficient pollination also, as well as seed dispersal as well. Okay, so why different type of inflorescence have evolved? Okay, so these have evolved depending on the need of the plant, okay, or the environment in which they were present. Because some of the plant, they are wind pollinated, some are pollinated by insects. Clear? So this enhances the reproductive success through efficient pollination and seed dispersal. So this is the significance of different type of inflorescence. And flowers, they are the reproductive structures. So there is a question here. Let's discuss this question. You have to differentiate between simple and compound leaves, and then you have to differentiate between pinnately compound and palmately compound leaves. Now let's first talk about difference between simple leaves and compound leaves. So what is the difference here? Simple leaf, they have a single leaf blade. Okay, compound leaf, they have multiple leaflets because the incision they reaches the midrib. Simple leaf, they have only one main lamina, whereas compound leaf, they have multiple smaller lamina because they have multiple leaflets. Then simple leaves, here the single leaf is attached to the petiole, but in the compound leaf, multiple leaflets, they are attached to the rachis. Rachis is the extended part of the petiole. Then simple leaf, they have only one blade with single point of attachment, whereas compound leaf, they have multiple blades because they have multiple leaflets with multiple points of attachments. These are some of the difference between simple leaf and the compound leaves. Now let's talk about some of the difference between pinnately compound and palmately compound leaves. So these are both compound leaves. Pinnately compound leaves, here the leaflets are arranged along the central rachis. So leaflets are present all along the central rachis. Let's talk about the palmately compound leaf. Here the leaflets, they arise from a single point. Okay, like your palm of your hand. It is like palmately compound leaf. The fingers, they are arising from a single point. Now, about pinnately compound leaves, these are like feather-like. Okay, pinnately compound leaf, they are feather-like. Okay, when you look at a pinnately compound leaf, they are feather-like because they have multiple leaflets all along the rachis. And palmately compound, they are like fingers spreading from the palm. Example of pinnately compound leaf, rose and neem. Example of palmately compound leaf is horse chestnut and hemp. Pinnately compound leaflets are attached at different points. In palmately compound, all leaflets attached at a same point. Yes, so you should remember the examples also of pinnately and palmately compound leaves. There's one more question. What are special type of inflorescence? You have to give examples. The question is regarding inflorescence now. Okay, let's have a look at the answer. So first is the Syathium. Clear? Now what is Syathium? So Syathium, first of all, it is found in euphorbia. And in Syathium, what happens? Small unisexual flowers, they are present within the cup-like structure. Okay, this is known as Syathium. This is found in the member of Euphorbiaceae. Clear? So what happens is Syathium, the male flowers are arranged around one central female flower. So there is one central female flowers, and around this one central female flowers, 5 male flowers are arranged outside it. Okay, the first is Syathium. Next is Hypanthodium. So Hypothodium is quite complex as compared to Syathium. What happens in Hypanthodium? Clear? Here, this is first of all found in fig. Here, you eat fig also. This is found in the fig plant. And here, the flowers are present inside a fleshy receptacle. So, these tiny flowers, they are present within the receptacle. Okay, clear? Then there is Synanthium. So, Synanthium, this is a kind of Hypanthodium only, but this is the open version of Hypanthodium. Here also the flowers are present within the receptacle, but the receptacle is open here. This is not closed. In Hypanthodium, the receptacle was closed. Here the receptacle is open. That's why it is known as open version of Hypanthodium. The next one is Capitulum. This is very important, Capitulum. Okay. So what is Capitulum? So first of all, example you should remember, this is found in sunflower and marigold. Clear? So here ray flowers are present. Okay, and disc flowers are present. So 2 kinds of flowers are present in Capitulum. Ray flowers and disc flowers. Okay. Clear? And the ray flower, they are usually sterile. And disc flower, they are usually bisexual. Or simply you can write that the cluster of small sessile flowers on the flattened receptacle. So basically Capitulum, it consists of 2 flowers, ray flowers and the disc flowers. These are present in sunflower. So sunflower consists of 2 kinds of flower, ray flowers and the disc flowers, or ray florets or disc florets you can also say. Then there is inflorescence verticillaster. This is also very important. Clear? So this is condensed cyme appearing as the verse is found in mint and tulsi. Clear? So it is condensed cyme, means cymose inflorescence. We talked about racemose and cymose. This is condensed cymose inflorescence which appears as the whorls. Now spadix. Spadix is found in colocasia and banana. So first of all, you should remember examples of all of these. So this is fleshy spike with small flowers enclosed in the spathe. Clear? So these are the type of inflorescence. Most important type of inflorescence here is Syathium, then Hypanthodium. Capitulum is also very important, and verticillaster. These are very important. You should remember the examples. Okay. So basically, all of these inflorescences, these are divided into 2 major categories: racemose and cymose. Clear? Like verticillaster, this is a condensed cyme. Okay. This capitulum is a compressed racemose inflorescence. Clear? Okay. Let's talk about some keynotes here. So modification in leaves. So this table is very important for you. Okay. So here modification of leaves are shown to you. So leaves can be modified into various structures. Leaf can be modified into tendrils. So tendrils are modified leaves which help in the climbing of the plant. And these are present in pea plant and grapevine. Then spines, they are also modified leaves. And their function is protection of the plant from the herbivores. Here in cactus and opuntia, the leaves are modified into spines to conserve water. These spines help in the protection of the plant. Then phyllodes, they are flattened leaf stalks. Leaf stalk means petiole. So they are flattened petioles which functions as leaves. So petioles start to function as leaves. This is known as phyllodes. Usually the petiole doesn't do photosynthesis, but here the petiole function as leaves and they are doing photosynthesis. This one is field load found. Example is ostation, acacia. Then storage leaves. These leaves can also store food also, such as in onion and garlic. Leaves are storing the food here in onion and garlic. Then they can modified to catch the insects also. Clear example is Venus fly trap in pitcher plant. Here leaves are modified to capture the insects. And these leaves, they release the digestive enzymes also to digest these insects. Then leaves can be modified into scales also. Okay, clear? The scales, they reduce leaves. They are reduced leaves and they also provide protection. Then examples are pine tree and casuarina. Okay, so the scales are reduced leaves that provide protection. They are found in desert plants and conifers as well. They help reduce water loss also. Clear? They are very common in pine trees. Now, leaves they can act as reproductive leaves also. Clear? Example is in bryophyllum. So in bryophyllum, on the leaf, buds appear. And these buds, they detach from the leaf, they fall on the ground, and these buds can give rise to new plants. So this is a kind of vegetative reproduction. So in bryophyllum, what happens? The leaves, they can do reproduction through leaves also. So on the leaf, buds appear. These buds fall onto the ground and give rise to a new plant. Then succulent leaves. So these leaves are modified to store water. So these leaves are quite thick. They are fleshy with specialized tissue. They are adapted to dry conditions, xerophytic conditions, arid conditions. And they help plant to survive drought. So these are also present in bryophyllum and agave. And then last one is hooks. So these are modified. Leaves are sometimes modified and they appear hook-like and they help in climbing of the plant. They help the plant to attach to the surfaces. They aid in the vertical growth. Okay, so these are quite common in climbing plants. Tendril also helps in the climbing. Hooks also help in climbing. Hooks are present in Doxantha angusticati. So you can remember this example. So these are the modifications of the leaf. So this table is very important here. Okay, we talked about the type of inflorescence also. So you can remember the examples. Okay, just remember the examples. Corymb of capitula is present in Ergatum. Then mixed panicle is present in Ligustrum. Mixed padix is present in banana. Panicle of spikelets are present in Oryza sativa. And Thyrus is present in grapevine. So from here you can remember banana, Oryza sativa. These are very important. Grapevine is also very important. Clear? So there are some interesting questions for you now. First of all, explain various leaf modifications and their adaptive significance. So I've shown you the table. Okay, so from this table, you can write down the answer. Okay, you can think of some leaf modifications as well. The next question, what is phyllotaxy? You have to describe different types with examples. Okay, next question, explain different type of leaf venation patterns. You can talk about the reticulate and the parallel venation patterns here. And then next question, how do different type of inflorescence benefit plant reproduction? So what is the significance of different type of inflorescences? How they benefit the plant? How they benefit the plant reproduction? So these are some interesting questions for you. This will enhance your critical thinking ability. So this was the end of this session. I hope this session was quite knowledgeable for you. We'll meet you in the next session. Thank you very much for listening.